Clipper star Patrick Beverley tweeted his own take on King James' power in the NBA. Hooper, say what y'all want. King James said he's hooping, we're all hooping. Not personal, only business. On that note, we welcome in Antonio Davis. Antonio, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Appreciate having you. Let's get right into it. How much influence do you feel that LeBron has on the players ultimately and this restart?
Well, I think he has a lot of influence. And let me be very clear. This is not challenging whether or not LeBron has done some incredible things with his voice. He's been definitely had some very insightful and educated comments about what has been going on. I think my point was, at this particular point in time, we need to hear more of him because he can be a voice. He has a powerful, strong voice. He's done some powerful things in the community. So I'm just saying that, for him to come out, talk about those different things, and he needs to be given this platform. I should have also added to my comments that, continuing to play will give him that platform again, too, because I think, like Barkley said, out of sight, out of mind. But with this platform, he can continue to talk about the things that need to be done and lead players. Patrick Beverley said it right. If LeBron says something, people are going to listen. So I just want him to talk more about that.
AD, Stephen A. here. Always good to see you, my brother. Let me
Yes, sir.
ask you this question. When you think about LeBron James, and I appreciate you recognizing, what he's done, his school, his I Promise Foundation with the LeBron James Foundation, the Children's Defense Fund, Smithsonian African American History Museum, all of the stuff that he's done. It's been sensational. There's no way around that. But one could argue that because of his position, when he spoke out, remember when the president got on his nerves and he called him a bum, okay? He called him a bum and all of this other stuff. Because he's been so political in the past, could it be that he's wise to sort of see how things, in other words, do what he's been doing, but in terms of getting in front of a microphone, be a bit reticent or reluctant to do that in an effort to avoid people trying to politicize it? Maybe LeBron is playing chess when the rest of us are playing checkers as it pertains to wanting him to get in front of the mic and actually speak when he could potentially do more damage behind the scenes. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that that's something to consider. He's been very wise with his words in times where he didn't, he tweeted out something that may not have been great. He's often clarified what he meant by it. I think my thing is now, if we're going to continue to have players kind of speak up on, hey, we shouldn't play and why we shouldn't play, then I think it's very important to have a stronger voice talking about why we should play and the things that we should do. I don't, at this particular point in time, anything he says can be taken and politicized or whatever the case may be. But I think he's smart enough and understands enough and has a great team behind him and has enough influence to knock off the political ease of what it is and just talk about the point at hand, which is, hey, they should be playing basketball right now.
Antonio, it's already political. There's no escaping that. It's obvious. It's a plain fact. It's not even opinion. When someone on the right, like Mitt Romney, marches with Black Lives Matter, that's newsworthy because he's like the only one doing it on the right, or one of very few, or the most prominent. On the left, it's all over the place. So it's already political. But what about along these lines? I think LeBron has done a very good job speaking extemporaneously about issues about which he's passionate that are not basketball. And I think he can be an effective spokesperson that way, for one of them, for a movement. He put his foot in his mouth with China, I think, but that's partly because he has $1 billion of business there and sold out. I'd sell out probably for a much lower number than that, partly because it's more complicated. He's not as familiar with the situation. I get it. But in other respects, talking about domestic social issues, especially as it relates to people of color, he's been excellent. However, there is a difference between, as you said, strategically, as Stephen A. mentioned, doing things behind the scenes and being very prepared with statements publicly and speaking extemporaneously. Do you feel LeBron, when you said he needs to come out and state positions, do you feel he needs to do that, get in front of the microphone and talk and answer questions, and that he's comfortable enough with the subject matter to do that and be effective?
Well, he shouldn't do anything unless he's comfortable. And let's not lose focus here of actually what's going on in the world today. At this particular time, with all that has happened, people, shouldn't be afraid to come out and talk about the things that are going on, whether they feel like it's going to be political or whatever. I understand to a certain degree what Kyrie and any of the others who are saying not to play. I also heard Michelle, Roberts, head of the NBPA, come out and say, listen, this isn't about whether to play or not to play. This is about the effect that it'll have on this movement that we support. And that's what it's about. If LeBron can come out and say things that will help show players, hey, we can play and still be a part of this movement and still have an impact on what's going on, then that's fine. If he's not ready to do that, that's fine too. My only point was that the more we hear from him, because he has spoke on issues and been very eloquent with his words, then I think that it'll drown out some of the other noise. It will empower other guys who may not have that voice to come out and talk about what they feel, whether they feel we should play or not play. But at the end of the day, guys like LeBron who have that type of power can talk about us using our buying power. I heard Stephen A say that we can ask questions to the sponsors of the NBA, to anybody else. What are you doing to help our community? What are you doing to address some of these issues that we keep bringing up? So LeBron and whoever else in the NBA, this is a perfect opportunity to use your voice to continue to rise above maybe some fear or some backlash you feel you may have.